everybody. Today I want to tell you about a book that I absolutely loved and just devoured and couldn't get enough of that I think everyone who is a book lover or loves reading or loves books about books will really enjoy. And it is called The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. It's by Gabrielle Zevin. And it's a book about a guy who runs a bookstore on an island and all the things that happen to him and his love of books and things like that. And I won't tell too much about what happens in the book because I think you just have to read it and I don't want to spoil anything. I was a little bit surprised about some of the events that happened in the book. I first heard about the book on Books on the Nightstand, and one of the things that mentioned was, I think it was Anne from that podcast. She and Michael, both the hosts of the podcast, are book reps, and she talked about how one of the characters in the book is a book rep or a sales rep for a publishing company. And I'm just fascinated by all the behind the scenes of, what happens in publishing and how books come about, how they come into bookstores, how they come into your hands, how everything works. And I love listening to their podcasts, especially when they talk about their jobs and how they go to sales conference and do all these things and the relationships that they have with bookstore owners and things like that. And I don't think that I ever came across this in a novel, so it was really interesting to read. So the main character is the owner of the bookstore, and then there is a secondary character who is a sales rep who comes and shows, this is what we're going to be selling, this is what's in the catalog, and that just, immediately pulled me in. And the thing that did surprise me a little bit about this plot was it is kind of, I don't want to say cliche, but it's one of those books about, a person whose life is going a certain way, and then something happens, like, they have to raise a child, which is actually what happens. I don't think that's really a big spoiler for this book. The opportunity arises, and of course it's going to throw their life, not out of control, but, they're going to have all these unexpected things, or it's going to change their life, or give them challenges, but of course it's all worthwhile, and I know there's a lot of books and also movies like that, and I don't tend to like those type of books because it just seems like overdone to me. So I wasn't expecting that in this book, but when it did happen, I just kind of went along with it and it worked, and I really loved this book. I think it having that bookish component though is really what did it for me. That setting, of course, all the characters are really wonderful, and I just really enjoyed this book and just read through it so quickly. I mean, it's not a long book anyway, but I just couldn't put it down, and it's such an easy read and enjoyable. So it's one of those very, very enjoyable, fun books that you just really can't wait to get back to. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only thing that I can say maybe against this book, and this is just a thing that's personal preference for me, that I don't tend to like books that move through like the character's whole life or go through a long period of time, because this book kind of does that. It's not like, oh, it's just set in a year in his life. It's like this is maybe 20 years of the person's life or something like that. And especially in a short book where it feels like time is moving so quickly, and I don't know, I think that's just something that I don't like, because I don't want to think of oh, life is over in an instant. I mean, people say life is short and things like that, and sometimes it feels that way and other times it doesn't. But when I read books like that, I don't know, it just makes me feel like, oh my gosh, life is so short, and I just watched this whole person's life go by, and like, what was the point of it? So it just, I don't know, is a little disconcerting to me. So that's my issue, but I will mention that just because it came up for me. And if you really don't like books like that, maybe you won't like this book. But I mean, personally, I don't really love things like that, but I still really love this book and really enjoyed it. And like I said, that has a lot to do with the bookish elements in it. So if you are looking for a little light book that has great characters and a bookish setting with bookstores and books mentioned and reading and characters that love books, then definitely check this one out. I think you'll really enjoy it. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you about another book in an upcoming video. Have an awesome day. Bye, guys.